Although I was always a performer as a kid, I always loved singing and dancing, and in Venezuelan culture, there's a lot of like just expression of self within that, like singing, dancing, and like there's no fear when it comes to that. But when I moved to North America, I was like, brand new world. The fact that I could take drama in high school, life-changing. So I was in theater like from the second I got here, and then when I graduated high school, I really wanted to study acting, and I ended up taking like a 2-year program in Alberta, and then I wanted to keep going. So I ended up going to more theater school in Montreal, and that's when things got really serious because I realized that this could potentially be a real future. First of all, don't listen to anyone tell you that you can't do it. Time and time again, I think this theory has been proved wrong. Someone else's fear of doing something shouldn't be projected onto you. Don't compare yourself. I would have told myself that a long time ago. Don't compare yourself and your journey to somebody else's, because that's the magic, is that we are so unique in this that's why there's room for everybody. I don't really believe in this like competition and like when you go into a room, you're just so like, don't talk to me, I'm not gonna tell you how it went. I'm like, if it's meant for you, it won't pass you. The universe doesn't give you things that you're not ready for. And I really believe that, because if you've prepared yourself to do something, that's all you have to do. You don't have to be desperate to be said yes to and go in there being like, please, please, please. Like now it's more like, here's what I can do, and if it's for me, like thank you and I accept it. If it's not for me, it's not because I suck, it's because it's just not for me. Like I'm making space for the thing that will be mine. My first recurring role in like a big show was Orphan Black. And I remember so clearly, my agent had to fight for me to get me in the room, because initially they didn't want me to audition because they thought I was too young and pretty for the part. But my agent believes in me, she believes in the work, and she was like, let her audition. I promise you that if her work doesn't speak for itself, then that's fine, but at least she went in. I go in, the director was there, oh my gosh, and like, that's very rare, but she was there. And I started doing the scene and she was like, take your shoes off. Because she felt like I was like, not grounded enough, so I took my shoes off, I did the scene, and she just looks at me and she says, you're an incredible actor, and like, keep going, don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because you're a great actor. Literally as I'm leaving, she's like, you're great, like, and she did say, she was like, we do think you're too young and pretty for the role, because she was like a mom and all of these things. But at the same time, like leaving that room, I was like, wow, like that was really nice. Cut to 2 weeks later, I got the part. That could have gone two ways. I could have completely felt awful about myself and said, oh, they're right. I'm not the right person for this because they know what they want. But they only know what they want before they see you. They only know what they want before you show what you can do and how well you do it and how honest you are about it. I really cherish the moments that I get time off to see my friends and my partner and my dog. Like, they're my family. My family is really far away. Like, they live in Venezuela, my parents are in Saudi Arabia. I only have one brother here, and we're not as close as I wish we were. So my family is created by the community I have around me, and they're my support system. And the beautiful thing about being on set is that I get to meet new people all the time. And so it's almost like my friend group and the people around me are always getting like refreshed, and the people that stick around do, and other ones are just acquaintances and great people I've met. But I'm so much more open to the idea that not everyone has to be like my best friend. I can just have like this community of people who like support me and support back, and making time for them. I've been really cold. Oh, I've been really, really cold before. Shooting those outside scenes in the middle of the night, that's tough. Or the opposite, shooting like summer, but it's like freezing outside, like anything. My first Tim Hortons commercial that I shot was supposed to be a summer drink, and it was hailing outside. I was wearing a t-shirt, and I was like, hey Canada. They're like, can you stop shivering? I'm like, yeah, I'll try. Like, that's not easy. It's really hard, honestly. I remember at the end of 2019, I actually had like a panic attack. It was like a complete breakdown. I think my biggest fear was being misunderstood, especially after I'm in a career where I'm in the public eye, and I wasn't even sure of how do I even come out? I wasn't there yet. I was playing queer characters a lot, but I wasn't speaking about it publicly. Eventually, you know, the show came out, and actually the fandom and people who follow me are just so lovely. They're so vulnerable and so vocal, and like they come to the rescue a lot of the time, but like I realized that they allow me to be more me than ever. And it was the opposite. I think putting myself out there made it even more authentic to my work, and vice versa, and it allowed me to just like, okay, now I get to be me. I think when I went into acting, I thought that it was putting on characters, putting on masks. Now, I really believe that acting is letting people in and being vulnerable, and it's actually like shedding layers of yourself. I think acting has got me closer to me because of that. I always used to be very good at making friends and being at parties and social and all of these things, but I wasn't open. And there's a difference. I think I used to be very like an anxious extrovert, where I inserted myself in situations, and yes, a part of it was real. That was like my energy. I can, you know, be witty and, you know, dance, and there's a fearlessness in the way that I carry myself. But I could never talk about the things that internally weren't working. I couldn't talk about my trauma. I couldn't talk about why my relationships were failing. I couldn't talk about the fears that I was facing, the things that I was longing for truly. With acting and sitting there, like something happens when you're just sitting in a room and there are so many people depending on you to deliver a very emotional moment. And I'm getting emotional talking about it, but like it really pushes you to ask yourself, like, what do you have to lose? Like, why are you so scared of like someone seeing you be ugly, be emotional? And I used to hate it. I used to hate crying and being like ugly on camera and like scream and look angry or whatever. Like anger was not a part of me. I always used to say that, like I never got angry. It's like, I think it's because I had anger inside me and hurt, and that's why I didn't want to show that. So with acting and learning that like revealing is actually really beautiful, and that there's nothing wrong with you if you're feeling that way. It's actually what makes you human and so like present and more relatable. Being seen for really who you are is so like nerve-wracking but beautiful. And that's what I hope. I just hope that when people watch me on screen, they can see that I'm really trying to reveal more and more of myself every single time the camera is there. You know, like I'm hoping that the more I do it, the more it forces myself to just like stay in my power. Don't make excuses for yourself. Don't judge yourself. You're human, like we all are, and you're not alone in it.